Hi, everyone, and welcome to our weekly discussion series that's hosted by the Chaldean Cultural Center in collaboration with U of M Detroit Center and also Unique Voices in Films. And today I have two really wonderful guests that have been doing enormous work for the community through Shlama Foundation. And I've talked to them before, and I've done interviews about Noor Matti before. He's the founder. They have very interesting stories, and they have very inspirational work that they will be sharing with us today. So Noor, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit and let us know how you ended up in Iraq right now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the Chaldean Cultural Center for this wonderful opportunity. Well, I mean, my story started like any other story of a Chaldean immigrant in Detroit, just trying to make it to school and work and party stores, you know, trying to make ends meet. But when I graduated from Wayne State University, I don't know, I just felt like something was missing in my life, and I didn't know where to head with my career and what to do with my life in general. So, you know, I told my parents I wanted to visit my homeland, just to visit, to see my relatives. I haven't seen them for 16 years, you know, since I was a little kid. Just wanted to visit them. But like I only bought a one-way ticket, and that was in 2008. So it's been 12 years now. And a lot of things have happened since then. A lot of great memories and a lot of difficult memories. But all in all, you know, we're trying to make it, and you never know where you'll end up in this world. And I happen to be in the wonderful city of Erbil. But today I'm talking to you from Duhok because we just finished a major project in one of the villages right here. So yeah, this is why I'm here, and all in all, I'm pretty happy. Yeah.
Well, sure. Thank you for sharing that. Now, I'm going to be a little bit concerned when my kids ask me to go visit back home because it might end up with a one-way ticket. But I got to say, the work that you do is so inspiring. The way that you do it is wonderful. I watched your videos, and I just like your down-to-earth way of just kind of connecting to the people there. You really, it's like very heartfelt. When all their hardships, you get to see them firsthand. I don't know if you do the same videos today and how you share your stories, but it helps people connect to the people that live in Iraq and see their hardships rather than just kind of hear about it. So your stories were very unique. And how have things developed? Evette, I'd like you to also share, if you can, you know, if you can take a few minutes just to share your background and how you got involved with Shlama. And then we can go on to talk about the projects that you guys had worked on before and how they've developed to the point where they are today.
Yeah, so I have always been involved in the local Chaldean community in Michigan. So I was involved with Irutha, but when the ISIS invasion happened, me and a couple of other like-minded friends decided to come together when Noor was visiting from Iraq at the time. And it just everything was moving really fast, and we saw that there was a need for our community to be served back home, especially in terms of providing humanitarian aid. We all came together, and that's how we created the Shlama Foundation. So I've been involved as a board member since the beginning.
So do you mostly work from the States, Evette? And then I know Noor is in Iraq. So
yes,
doing your work here. Okay.
Yeah, so most of the work I do is from the U.S. We provide a lot of like the administrative support, so monitoring the finances, donation management, any fundraising, marketing, all of the stuff that really we try to do from our end to relieve Noor and our other project managers from having to be burdened with. We take care of from our end. That way they can focus on just providing the aid and managing the projects from the homeland.
So Noor, what are the projects that you're working on?
Well, a number of projects, but I would like to highlight one word that you used, connect. You said something about how, you know, you guys can make it really easy to connect. And basically that's what the Shlama Foundation was created, to connect our diaspora community abroad, Detroit, California, Australia, or Europe, connect them to here with our people here in Iraq. As you know very well about, the thing that happened with ISIS, but even before ISIS and now post-ISIS, we have lots of different problems. We have over 200 villages and tens of towns, and each one has a story, each one has a difficulty, and we try our best to meet the need. When we first started those early days in 2014, our projects were mostly emergency needs. We were trying to just help meet the burden that was placed on 120,000 people who lost their houses because of ISIS. And not just their houses, of course, their entire lives. So we would be doing, food assistance and medical assistance and even housing those first few years so that we can ease the burden. 2017 came, and then when Nineveh Plains was liberated, then we got down and dirty. Then we said, okay, let's be part of the rehabilitation process. We helped rebuild apartments, we helped rebuild homes, we helped reestablish businesses, we helped create even new businesses so that the lives of people are back again. Of course, they're still struggling. Remember, the entire infrastructure was destroyed. A town like Batnaya, for example, 80% of anything that was there was destroyed by a missile. So work still needs to be done, and we try our best to help as many people as possible. We have 6 main different categories. Of course, we do these big things such as housing and help people with the economy, help them with jobs and income. But we do other things as well. When we have medical situations, we try to help with that. Currently, we have a COVID pandemic going on in Nineveh Plains, and we reached our first peak. And the community needs help. These oxygen devices are really expensive, so we try to help with these kind of needs that these towns have. But of course, we do all different kind of things. We don't just work in Nineveh. When we go out of Nineveh and go to those remote Dehov villages, their problems range from, for example, today not having a road to lead to the cemetery so that they can easily reach it to bury their dead, to no lights in their village, so they feel scared at night because they have no street lights, or even just electricity in general. There's no secondary source of electricity, so we try to fix their generators and whatnot. So pretty much everything you can think of. We don't do projects whatever we feel like it. We go to the community, we make full assessment, and each area has different issues, and then we make our best attempt to help mitigate their situation. And we've done 200 projects, so you can guess.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when I was watching you guys' videos and when I hear about your projects from a lot of my colleagues, so sometimes what happens, the Iraqi-born people, or the Iraqi-born Christians that are born here, they kind of, like you said, that disconnect sometimes happens where we're not really aware what's happening there, and then we lose trust of the government there. So it's like we want to help, but then there's a distrust, like, is there a community still there? Now, when you're talking about 200 villages, I mean, just the second that you said that, I thought, really? I mean, despite all my work and as much as I get involved and I read and everything, I'm still very not aware in comparison, of course, to you living there. How can we gain that trust, and how can people stay connected? What are the ways that, I know everybody has a deep love for their homeland and they want to help, but there's just so many aspects that needs to be answered first.
I'll let Evette answer that question.
So for Shlama's from Shlama's end, what we do is we try to provide like a transparency process from our end. So if you go to our website, you can see that whatever method you choose to donate, okay, you can donate online, or you can donate, send a check in the mail, or whatever method you choose, as long as you include your email address. Once the money for the project has been spent, and right now, obviously, there's a delay because of the coronavirus, and we haven't had an opportunity to do as many projects, unfortunately, as we would like. But once the money has been spent, the donor will receive an email, which would include photos from the project that was spent on, video from the project, and then a list of items that were purchased, as well as what's it called? Like they'll see like the list where specifically where their name is on the website and how much of that particular donation was spent. Okay, and that's all included in the email for the donors to be able to see that 100% of their donation was spent on the project.
Okay, and what about the fact that, you know, the people losing confidence in the government in general and just feeling like, well, we don't really have a community there anymore. Is this a false idea that we have, that our community, just because so many people have left and it just seems like some of the villages have been destroyed? So sometimes we take for granted that there is a community that's still there and that's even staying there.
So of course there's a community, and I'm sure Noor, you would be best to be able to answer this, but I think it depends on, so like we in the diaspora identify based off of whichever village we're from, and some villages are a lot more emptied compared to others, and if you don't have any direct ties back home, you're going to have that feeling, the expectation that there aren't that many people back home. But Noor can tell you, and he can expand more on the population project that we've done, that yes, we do have a thriving community back home. Unfortunately, they're not in large numbers as we would hope to expect. But go ahead, Noor, I'll let you take the lead from here.
Well, we have 150,000 Chaldeans, Assyrians, and Syriacs currently in Iraq. 150,000, and that is 150,000 stories. And we can't turn our back on them because they are unfortunately in a situation where they don't have many allies, they don't have many friends. So if we, our own people, don't help them, who's going to help them? Yes, we have 90% of the population has left, but again, we have 150,000 people who, for whatever different reason, are still staying and living and working and going to school here. And it is our duty as, you know, Chaldeans, Assyrians abroad to help the people who are still here because of those things that you mentioned. The governments, both governments, unfortunately, are not, very helpful for our people's, everyday lives. And the difficulties that they have is mostly because of the corruption that is deep in these two governments. So if we don't help them, then nobody else will help them. So it is very important that we try our best to do as much as we can, whether you're living abroad or you're living here. Sometimes we have assistance from here where we have people are willing to work for free. They're willing to volunteer day and night. Today we have people working for 8-10 hours constructing a road, but they need that support. They need that financial assistance. They're not going to find it from nowhere. Unfortunately, we become a forgotten minority here. So it's crucial that Chaldeans of Detroit or the Syrians of Chicago do stop for a second and think about actually helping the people that are still left here. And our Shlama Population Project is a great tool for people to get to know about our community here. So you can go and check out to see what is the population of this village or that town. And you can even look at what projects were done previously there to see what we can do in the future together.
I know that you said that a lot of this stuff, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I know that you said that a lot of this information is on your website, but in general, like what would be, what would be the most focus that you would say that you are putting on to take care of the needs of the villages? And of course, you said also each village has different needs, but what is the main focus when somebody is donating? Let's say like today, if I donate $100, where would the priorities go?
Yeah, so it depends on the situation we are currently. This COVID situation caught us off guard. So we are trying to focus on the medical sector a little bit more now than we have previously. But since post-ISIS, we have been trying to do more economical projects actually, because a lot of people do not have a strong source of income, or some don't even have no source of income. And for example, they have a street now and they have a road and they have a street lights. Okay, great, but they need help to have a good source of income. So we're trying to focus our best when we don't have a crisis to do economical projects, helping these small shops or small family businesses that get them really strong so they can go over the edge and be able to give a respectful life for their families. But again, it all depends from situation to situation. We have, for example, in the Hoek area, poverty is really bad there. So sometimes we have no choice but to give them food assistance. We prefer to do kind of projects where they are empowered so that the assistance longevity is long, right? It stays and helps. But sometimes we have no option but to do, you know, food assistance in certain cases. So it really depends on just basically what is happening here. You know, we live in Iraq where it's an up and down situation. Sometimes they're up, sometimes they're down, and sometimes it's like this, and sometimes it's like that. And actually, that's one of the reasons why it got me excited to live here. You know, I'm not one of those people that likes consistency. I like unpredictability. I don't like to watch trailers of movies. So we don't know.
It does sound like you're living a very exciting lifestyle, and you're serving at the same time. Oh, that's wonderful. You know.
Yeah.
And how has the government, like, how does the government play a role in this? Can they, is there any kind of assistance? Sorry, that's my dog. Is there any assistance from the government? Either, you know, from
the government, yeah. So the government, of course, you know, does not have the best reputation. Currently, though, the Nineveh governor, the Iraqi government, is doing a good amount of rehabilitation in Nineveh, in towns such as Baghdad, Bartella, and Telkete. Yes, we're seeing some movement for the first time in 17 years. We're seeing some assistance, but unfortunately, it's very small. It's not really big. So that is why, you know, the work of Shlama is even more important. We have other organizations that try to lobby the government on our behalf, and they're doing amazing job. They even try to influence international countries such as the US and DC to put pressure on the governments here to help us more. And we do see some results, and it's great. But we don't look to the government to help with our everyday problems. You know, our people here, all they need is just security. As long as we're safe, we can make it. And so that's how it is.
So what is your future plans with that? I know that, you know, Iraq being how it is, and the government, how you described, one day it's this way, one day is that way. What do you see the future for the minorities living in Iraq?
Well, first of all, there's lots of misconceptions. Iraq, the word Iraq has a stigma to it. But, you know, our lives here are not as dangerous as you might think. I actually am, you know, statistically safer in Iraq than I would be in Detroit, for example. It's a fact. It's a fact. So it's not all that bad. But because of the big events that have happened, such as ISIS, the problems are big. But currently, you know, security, it's okay. We don't have kidnappings. We don't have killings. Like the old days that we would hear about 10 years ago, for example. We don't have, you know, church shootings, for example, things like that. But what the future is we want to strengthen our community here with as many projects as possible. We talk to villagers right now, just today. They tell us, you know, all we need is just basic support, and we will take care of our villagers. We will take care of our lands, and try to, you know, live a life of dignity here. So we try to do media projects. We try to do large projects. Currently, we are in the middle of one of our largest projects, where we are looking at creating a revolution, a solar revolution, an electric revolution. Because as you know, it's still summer here in Iraq, and we're taking advantage of that by partnering with USA to try to create a solar revolution in Nineveh. And Evette can take it away from here to tell us about our biggest project. We are in the middle of it now, and it will be completed 1 year from now.
Yeah, so we were very fortunate. The way things came together is crazy. So last year we had a mission trip to Iraq, and we had a solar engineer who came with us. His name is Faiz Yono, and he had a dream of trying to bring solar energy to the villages. And then after we came back from our mission trip, one of our good friends and volunteers, Josephina Tisha, found this grant, and we kind of tried to see if we can apply for the grant and fund the solar project. And we are a year into it now. And the solar grant that's in partnership with USAID will bring solar energy and solar systems to 100 homes in a village, and then solar street lighting for 3 additional villages, as well as 30 solar water pumps for farms so that they can go ahead and increase their product yield. So we're very excited. And in addition to bringing in solar energy and addressing the inconsistency and interrupted electricity in the region, we're also hiring 6 local engineers, 6 engineers who had an engineering degree but couldn't find any job opportunities. And they're very young and motivated and excited that they're going to become experts in a field that hopefully will continue to grow in the region. So we're providing them with employment opportunities for them and their families that they would have never had otherwise.
Honestly, this is really impressive information. I mean, this whole thing. See, this gives us an idea. Like, yes, it does matter. Your work does matter. All these years of your efforts, and you're very well deserving of this grant that you guys received, because you've been doing really just working just through the grace of God and just using your whatever resources that were to you. So really, congratulations to that.
Thank you. Thank you. And I want to add, again, based from what Noor was saying before, really, we do try to focus on connecting people in the diaspora to the homeland, because if we didn't have the mission trip, you know, Faiz, our engineering consultant, would have never had the opportunity to go back home and see what it's like, conduct his assessment so that we could you know, consider a solar project. And if Josephine wasn't so passionate about, you know, helping her homeland and seeing what opportunities there are for us to be able to fund such projects, then it would have never happened. So you have all of these variables where you have people who are passionate about helping those in the homeland to thrive and prosper, coming together, seeing that there's a need, and just watching everything come together and unfold is really amazing. Because even though I'm not back home, I'm constantly in communication with our engineers, and so is our engineering consultant, trying to provide them with whatever support we can so that they can succeed in this project.
Yeah, and I have heard of the people that have from here, from the US. I think this is where the nice collaboration is happening, where you have a very strong interest here and a strong group here, and then you have a group that's also working in Iraq. And you guys really are working as a team, and it shows by the results that you're that's happening. Now, I just want to have, so because my parents are from Turkey and my grandparents, so I'm wondering, like, if we get into that village, I know that it's kind of like one of the bigger ones. Is there any kind of advances happening with that, or is there any information?
Yeah. Yeah, so of course Tel Kepe is a very special town in all of our hearts for many reasons. And keep in mind, you know, the majority of support that Shlama Foundation gets is from Detroit, because that's where, you know, all of us friends are originated from there, and those initial fundraisers were done in Detroit. So obviously, you know, the Chaldean Detroit community is very heavily Tel Kepe influence, and its history are deep. So we have been eyeing to try to do our best to work and help the people of Tel Kepe to bring back their town. Unfortunately, Tel Kepe and Batnaya, these are the two towns that were hurt the most and have not returned as compared to other towns. You know, all of Nineveh, for the most part, it has returned.
You mean in terms of population, right, Noor?
Yeah.
In terms of population and recovery?
In terms of population and rehabilitation. With Tel Kepe, we had to wait a long time, because it was just not safe. We're able to do projects in Baghdad, we're able to do projects in Al-Quds, but we were waiting for Tel Kepe to be safe so that we can go in and work aggressively. Since we couldn't do that much initially, one of the first things we did is we fixed the cemetery of Tel Kepe. And that was a very symbolic project for us back in 2018. As soon as the town was liberated, we made it a priority to put something in there to say, you know what, our community will stay. And we fixed it so beautifully, and we put the cross back in there. We gave hope to the community to slowly start rebuilding. Now, like I want to say late 2020 and 2021, we're gonna start working in Tel Kepe in a lot faster rate or bigger numbers than before, because now we feel like it is safe enough, and the people and Tel Kepnayas who are displaced in Iraq, now they're saying, okay, we're ready to go back to our towns. It was hard for us to do projects in Tel Kepe these 3 years since it has been liberated from ISIS, because unfortunately Tel Kepnayas have simply not returned. But now we're seeing signs of encouragement. The government actually has done some major infrastructure projects, and USAID is doing its own projects there to help the Christian community. So we're gonna step in there now and do projects that we're specialized in, which is medium-sized projects. And we're actually, hopefully, in a month or two, you will see a very heartwarming story from Tilkepe that I'm really, really excited about. It will melt your heart. A couple students from Mosul University who are Tilkepnai are trying to, just get by and try and make ends meet in order for them to be able to graduate and so stick around for that. We haven't done that much, but in Tilkepe, but wait for 2021.
Well, you know what? First, thank you for everything. Whatever you have tried to do there, whatever you have done, thank you so much. And whatever is coming up, I'm very excited to witness that. That's going to be very exciting. And I guess one other village that was kind of safe from the beginning, what I'd like to know about is Al Qush. Has it basically been safe all around? And what's the situation on that right now?
Well, since Evette is Al Qush, I'll let her answer that question.
You live back home, you know. So I mean, Al Qush was never invaded by ISIS, but they did take a hit in terms of providing shelter and taking in IDPs, so people who were displaced from some of the other villages. But the hits isn't as drastic as you would have expected in other parts of the village or other parts of the country or the Nineveh Plains. So I mean, for the most part, it's nowhere near what you would have expected from those that have been directly impacted by ISIS.
Okay, and but I know that a lot of Chaldeans ended up going there, and did they basically just kind of make that their home now?
Yes, and a lot of them found shelter in Al Qush and Tiscopa. A lot of them are Tilkepnayas and Bebatnaya from Batnaya. But now they're slowly going back to their towns because people do feel safer. With Al Qush, the reason why we work in Al Qush is because when they were hosting all these displaced families, hundreds of families, it put a burden on the resources of Al Qush, such as electricity, such as water, such as the economy. So this is the reason why we work in Al Qush, even though it wasn't invaded by ISIS, because it had difficulties indirectly because of the ISIS situation. And of course, each town has different importance. We are eyeing and bringing back Tilkepe because of the economic importance that symbolizes for our nation, for our community. We work in Al Qush because of the cultural symbolism it represents in our community. So each town is important for a different reason, and it gives us even more motivation to go and make their lives better.
Well, thank you for this update as well. And, we only have a few minutes, and what do you guys want to say in those last few minutes to the people that do want to participate, that do want to help, that want to get connected more? What do you have to say to them as final word?
Evette, why don't you speak first?
So for anyone who's interested in helping back home, there's always an opportunity to help. Some people can give with their time, okay? So if you can volunteer to help with fundraisers, we can definitely use help for that. Then others don't have time, but they prefer giving money. And at the end of the day, money is what we need to be able to make sure that we can execute on some of the more urgent projects that we have. So whatever it is, if you're passionate about helping our people, reach out to us and we'll find something for you to be able to do. We have you can contact us at our email. It's info@shlama.org. And then we have the number that's listed on the website. I don't know what is off the top of my head. Or you can try to reach us through our social media pages. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Snapchat, and Twitter. So if there's anything you guys are interested in doing, or anything you think you can contribute, whether it's a specific skill or talent, we want to hear what you can do to help, serve our people in the homeland.
And I will just add, there's 150,000 Chaldeans, Assyrian Syriacs here in Iraq. We cannot forget about them. And I hope that the Chaldean community does not forget about them. If we do not help our own people, then nobody else will. And I will say this to the Chaldean Americans, Syrian Americans that are living abroad. If you are proud of who you are as a person, just think about who you are as a person. You are who you are because of your roots. Your preferences, your cult, your personality, your everything. You're the person you are today because of your roots. So you don't want that to be erased. And that is why it's important that you try to do your best to help keep the legacy alive, to help keep our nation alive. we were fighting for our survival, you know, those years when ISIS came, and we didn't know if we would have a community or not. Now we know we do. So now it's important that you help strengthen that community here, so that there are future Liams, and there's a future Crystals, and future Evette, and future Noors. So please do not forget about your roots. Do not forget about your people. We're here, and we are more than willing to work and volunteer for free. Of course, Shlama Foundation is 100% volunteer based. We just need the support. So we would appreciate all the help you can give us. Go to shlama.org and you know, help in any way you can.
Thank you so much. That was so beautiful, Noor. And you're right. Everything that you said is absolutely right. And we appreciate everything that you guys are doing, and trying, like the work that you're doing there, and trying to do outreach for people to understand what you're doing. We really, really appreciate it. But aside from appreciation, we have to kind of be how you guys are doing it. You're taking action. So, you know, so we have to, you know, practice what we preach, right?
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
thank you so much. I wish you guys the best of luck. And Noor, I'm going to be waiting to see what happens until okay. I know that when you say something, you execute. So, okay. Thank you both. Thank you for making the time to be here. I know that the viewers have really loved this, and we're going to share it to as many people as possible so that we can bring awareness to the work that you're doing. That's the most important thing here. Okay. Blessings to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.